be really honest here, aren't you writing from the position of a woman who wants to celebrate the fact of women who like sex?
Sure.
That's a really big deal, and I think there are a lot
saying,
of women...
do I like sex?
Well, I am saying that I think you obviously do like sex a lot, otherwise you wouldn't be championing it in a way.
I think a lot of women are a lot. And, you know, I so many conversations I've had with women who say, I don't like my husband kissing me, I don't like my husband touching me, I don't like my partner doing this or doing that, or I have to do blowjobs or whatever it is, and they don't like doing them. There's almost a repulsion. And I just think if we're lucky to find someone who's got the key, who can unlock us, it's extraordinary. There's a whole other world out there, and I think if you're lucky enough to get that, and I want to write about that. I want to, you know, Bride was dedicated to my husband, to all to my husband, to all husbands. It was a manifesto in a way.
Yes.
This book, With My Body, is exactly the same. It's almost a teaching manual. It's
is
a manifesto to unlock a woman.
And the operative word there is teaching for me, because the key part of the kind of fantasy element of Bride was the idea of a woman who is more sexually experienced and who initiates a man who's a virgin, complete tabula rasa, and so she can get him to do anything she wants because she's teaching him from scratch. Okay, now in this book you have a young girl who's ripe. She's very, very young, only 14, and she comes across a man who teaches her.
And she's a bit older.
And then, later on, the situation is reversed in the sense that she then takes the knowledge and experience that she's had and teaches her husband. And so I was going to say to you that it seems to me that the sexiest thing for you, in fact, is the teaching.
I've never thought of it like that. Well, I like to write about that, but again, I wonder if you're assuming that what I'm writing about is true, that I've taught men or whatever.
Well, maybe you haven't, but that the act of teaching and learning for you is an erotic act.
But I think that's how I approach everything in life. I'm intensely curious, and I want to know how to make things work. And if they don't work, I'm fascinated in finding ways to make them work. You know, with everything I do, with writing or with whatever, I just want to learn deeply. My book, With My Body, is about passion in many ways, about the bonds that tie people, about different kinds of love. And I didn't want to explore just erotic love. I wanted to explore, you know, the parental love. That this woman, the protagonist, is a mother, but she's also a daughter. And I was fascinated by that, and I also wanted to explore a particular kind of Aussie bloke. You know, this book, it's this woman, she's stranded in England, but she comes back to Australia, and she's examining a particular type of Australian masculinity, which is not articulate, physically strong, great well springs underneath, that kind of thing. And in a way, I think the father-daughter relationship is the most heartbreaking aspect of the novel.
It's very, very moving and very powerful, as much for what's not said and what's discovered almost too late.
Yes, but also the way that an unspoken love it can be demonstrated in other ways, and that can be incredibly liberating. And also, you know, I used to have a perception that people kind of calcified as they aged, that they hardened into their faults and that kind of thing. But I wanted to write about situations where love can be revived and kind of relieved and all that kind of thing.
Bettina Arndt, for example, came out last year and said, basically, the problem with stale marriages is that women are not making enough of an effort, and that you basically need to just do it. Basically, her mantra was, if you just do it, eventually you will get the feeling back that you want to do it. And she was very sympathetic to all the frustrated husbands out there who weren't getting enough sex. Is that a view that you think that your book buys into?
No, because I think you have to do it with joy, or find a way to do it with joy, or it's just going to create more of a distance. I think some of the loneliest moments in our life can be when we're making love to someone. That gulf of kind of non-communication and bleakness that can happen. So no, I don't buy into, and I also find it very interesting that a lot of men have a very low sex drive too, and I think that is something that's never really talked about. And as I said, 8 years ago with the Bride Strip Bear, I'd love to read the Groom Strip Bear. For a man to completely strip away his ego, he'd probably have to write it anonymously, but to know, what's really going on there.